Welcome back. Welcome back. You are listening to Whissel Weekends on AM 1170. The Answer. My name is Kyle Whissel, your host with Whissel Realty Group. Joined as always by Mr. Jason Hall with Team Home Loans. I want to turn the attention over to our friend north of the border, which normally we say north of the border, we're referring to ourselves because we've got this little border with Mexico.
I guess that makes sense.
And there's all kinds of fun events happening down there recently.
Or there's that LA-San Diego border.
Oh, here you go.
The Orange County people hate me.
He's so wound up right now, he's not going to stop.
Oceanside
He just won't stop. He's just going to keep going.
Is north.
Just accept it. You're still a Chargers fan, Jason.
Yeah.
You could try to fight it as much as you want.
You should come out of the closet right now.
Yes.
Oh, that's these guys.
Sorry, after all this, does he not cheer for them now? Is that what I'm picking up now?
Do you still own your Chargers gear?
Yes.
Where is it?
It's in the garage.
Are you ready to take it out?
No.
For Saturday?
I'm waiting for
Are you
San
going to think
Diego.
about it? Are you going to look at it?
I'm not,
on Saturday,
Sean.
are you going to look at it?
Sean, I'm not even going to look at it. And my logos, you guys don't even know how much of a Charger fanatic I've been my whole life.
He's bought in blue cars his whole life so he can put giant yellow bolts on his cars.
And I have a blue house with a gold door. My son's named JJ.
Yeah.
All right, after John Jefferson. Our grandchild was going to be called Charger. I mean, my whole logo.
You got one on the way?
Stuff there. It might have one.
And,
but,
is it on the way?
But again, I love the players, and I hope the best for the players. So
you're cheering. You're actively cheering.
Not actively, but
you weren't
so
I'm still
conflicted.
kind of.
If you're about the
Were you
players,
jumping
then
up
you're
and down when we scored the 2-point conversion?
No,
You weren't?
no, I wasn't.
Really?
No, but I was kind of shaking my head like, wow. It was an amazing game. Like we were talking about in the break. It was just truly an amazing game. But again, I could talk Chargers all day, as Kyle knows. Especially having a Charger fan in here. It's nice to have you,
But
Sean.
whenever you're ready.
Yeah.
Cali, come.
I know a place you can
Cali
go
comfort.
and get some
I'm
good
coming to
food
barbecue.
and
I'm
be
getting some
surrounded by
tri-tip.
your fellow Charger
Yes.
fans.
Yeah, we'll do that.
And,
But
if you ever come to tailgate up in StubHub, we'll take care of you.
all right, let's talk about the Canadian in the room.
It's like let's talk about the elephant in the room.
Exactly.
Who's apparently
I have
standing
gained a
for
lot
his.
of weight,
Who's
so
already
that's true.
standing.
I was singing it. I was getting ready.
That's right. I'm 6 foot. I'm the shortest guy usually on the show.
No, I'm way shorter than that.
I know you. Kyle laughs at me, and I'm 6 foot, and usually we've had guys in here 6'9", 6'10", and when we take a picture at the end, it really looks funny on social media. You know, I look like I'm 5'6" compared to these guys because Kyle's 6'4", and usually his guests are taller.
I'm 6 foot.
Oh,
Yeah.
God,
But
yeah, no,
Derek's,
I got no chance.
Derek's 6'4", so I always the same
6'4",
thing happens.
300.
Yeah, exactly.
So, Brad, what's going on north of the border, dude?
Oh, well, I heard you guys complaining earlier about, I don't know, you said something about a vote and all that stuff. Yeah, so in Calgary, it's kind of like the Houston kind of thing. So we're like very commodity based. So we've been struggling. Our economy's been struggling for about 4 or 5 years, like consistently. It's been really bad. And we had an opportunity to go in and host for the Olympics. And we were going to get, don't quote me exactly on the numbers, but we were going to get about $1.2 billion from the feds, $500 million from the city. And as taxpayers, we would have had to spend about $300 million. So we would have got about $1.7 billion funds for the next 10 years to start everything to get us going. And yeah, the city shut it down.
Meaning the
said
city
no.
vote? It was a vote?
Yeah, it was
vote
a
for
vote.
the city?
54% said no. So
No, we don't want.
Yeah.
So you guys are just as dumb as San Diego
Yeah,
fans.
worse. Probably worse because we were
Yeah.
getting a free $1.7 billion. And we're like, you
We
know
would do
what?
the same thing.
We're good. But okay, well, I'm in good company at least, so I feel really good. But it would help stimulate. It would help stimulate the economy. Yeah, it really is. And you know, our real estate market's suffered for the last 3 to 4 years. We're hitting, 30-year lows for sales, and this is the first time that a lot of agents that have been around for, I've been around for 10 years, but 30 plus are calling me and being like, this is the first time that they actually have quite a bit of fear because there's no end in sight. Like there's nothing.
Because you guys just have buyers, right? Because without business, without an economy,
Right.
people can't afford to get a mortgage.
That's a major thing, and our rules have changed. Your guys' rules are a lot different than ours. Our rules have changed for lending, and it's hard. It's getting harder and harder to do everything. So then we keep getting, the government that we have in play, and I don't know a lot about politics, and I don't preach to, but all I know is that, if Trudeau gets voted in again, because he basically hates Alberta, all we need is a pipeline, and everybody wants a pipeline that knows what's actually good. And if you get that pipeline, then we're good to go. But we've been fighting it for years. But yeah, it's been a struggle, but you can't change it. So you just kind of plug away, and maybe you should start cheering for them because you can't change it. So
What's
I
the
don't know. Just
what's
an
the
idea.
population?
We're about 1.2. But I like my girlfriend and I come here, 4 times a year, I think now.
Right.
Because Kyle and I always, now that I have a girlfriend, we were still trying to find maybe a brunette for me because I have a blonde, so I can get married to a brunette and maybe marry a blonde. I don't know if that can happen.
Yeah,
later,
if you're
but-
listening
if
to
you're
the
talking
show
like
and you
that.
want to help this man get a green
Yeah,
card.
exactly.
You want to help him get a green card so he can be a resident.
I'll lose the 40 pounds I just gained this year, too. Like, there can be stipulations in that, but...
Jason, you always want to play matchmaker on the show.
I do. But you know what I'm thinking of is on Kyle's team, the number one agent this year that wasn't Kyle Whissel, and it was a close race, was Steve Winter. And Steve came down from Canada, and Steve had a tremendous year here in San Diego, and is a tremendous agent. He does a show for us once a month. And if you want to come down, Brad, I'm sure we'd love to have you. And you know, we're talking some serious funds that this guy made. That if he can do it, like he's the first one to say it. If I can do it, anybody can do it. I mean, he used to come to the show. Yeah, he used to come to the show that way, but he would come to the meetings that Kyle has, flip-flops, jeans, a T-shirt, and his dog. And he wouldn't get rid of his dog. And now he's the most buttoned up, has it together, still learning, and he's the first one to admit he's still learning, but amazing work ethic and just loves to help people. And he loves his heritage in Canada, and he talks about it on the show when he does it once a month. So
I'd love to. I think it just boils down to, you know, my girlfriend and I have talked about moving here. If we lived anywhere, we would come to San Diego. I'd have to, I don't know, maybe Kyle's lucky enough to have me on his team. We'd have to kind of negotiate that, but we've kind of come with it. But
Let's do it now.
Yeah,
live on the air.
right?
You want, we could do,
Yeah. Let's see how the rest of the team feels about that.
Yeah.
We need an igloo selling specialist.
That's true. Yeah,
you
'cause
can
you guys
like
have a lot of
You
that.
can bring igloos to San Diego.
Yeah, the problem is like Kyle's a far bigger team than I do, but you know I have about 16 people, so it's hard to just pick up roots and kind of do it, and especially since you know I've personally been putting in the last 3 to 4 years the most work I've ever had to almost have the least results, but it'd be a lot less if it wasn't. So to build that and build that dynamic and build that culture and to go, but we joke around about it, not even joke around, we talk about it all the time. It's just it's hard to work here. It's not easy to just come in and even if you bring in money or whatever it is, we've looked into it. It's not as easy as one would hope, because I'd love to wake up every day and stare at his ugly mug and go kill it in real estate. So it'd be nice.
Right. It could happen. So I've seen guys, big real estate agents here in San Diego, keep their team in San Diego, and they move to states like Texas and start a secondary team and do stuff there, and they could still,
Funny you mention that.
they could still do that. So there's potential, to make that happen. So we'd love to have you here. And I always tell everybody, Kyle, as you know, we need to keep business local, because if we all buy online to some other place in the world, we're going to have no funds to go eat at Cali Barbecue, to, even put money in the bank.
Drive to Chargers games.
Yeah, drive to Charger games. And people don't realize that. We all want to save a buck, and then we end up giving our neighbors no job, and then why do we have no job? Why has our house values gone down? People don't realize the game that we're starting to play, and I hope they look around the country and the world and see other places that are struggling like you are in Calgary, and say, hey, maybe if it only costs me a couple more bucks, I should just, buy my whatever here locally, versus trying to save a nickel.
Well, that's, I think, the major thing with Calgary is that we ship our oil to get refined out of our own country, and we buy it back for pennies on the dollar. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Wow.
So, like, we're one of the highest producing countries for oil, and we send it out to you guys. But anyways, we can go dive into that another time. But it's just, that's the challenge, is we just, the Americans convinced us to shut down all our refineries and give it to them, and now we don't even have a refinery. So if we had our own refineries, we'd be fine. But we got duped, and here we are. So that's just not.
Well, we appreciate you guys helping lower our gas prices. So
Are they lower?
Well, they're not in
They're-
San Diego, because I was in Chicago.
I don't know. I haven't been to a gas station in a while.
It was $1.98 in Chicago, and I think I paid $3.50 something last night. Or
Really? You got
$3.70.
under 4?
Yeah, I think maybe it was $3.80, but somewhere around there in San Diego. So it's about $2 between Chicago and San Diego.
That's crazy.
And as Kyle knows, he has a 100% electric car, so he doesn't even stop anymore.
Hell no, I hate the gas station.
Yeah, it's one less stop.
It's more efficient.
It is way more efficient.
I was just in that thing today, and it's pretty cool. It's
More cowbell.
yeah, that's right.
It's the weirdest thing.
Then they have that weird farting sound thing.
They just added a new feature on the Tesla. You can queue it up before somebody gets in the car, and you can pick a seat to make a whoopee cushion sound.
Wow.
No
So
way.
when somebody gets in the car, there's a secret button you hit that makes a fart sound out of
so-
a speaker near
And so
somebody's
somebody
butt.
that likes
Right.
embarrassing
Was
people.
this like a hack that you found, or
No,
was
this
No,
is
they
like
just
an
added
it's
it.
an
Like a
update that we
selling
got.
This is like a new feature,
There
a
was
new
some
Easter
guy
egg
like
they put on
Kyle
it.
in Tesla that came to the plant and said, "Hey, I thought of this idea. What do you guys think?" And the millennial crowd said, "Yeah, that sounds great, and it's working."
We're
Spend a
talking
cou-
about it,
spend a
aren't we?
couple- well,
Exactly.
we'll spend a couple million on that because that makes sense. But
Yeah. Isn't that
All right,
crazy?
guys, we got to wrap it here. I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Whissel Weekends today. If you ever want to get connected with us or any of the guests we've had on the show, you can always call or text us 619-663-SELL, 619-663-7355. If you want to stay tuned, we're going to roll into the Whissel Way podcast. Otherwise, thank you guys so much for listening to the show. We'll talk to you next week.